In this episode, we'll tackle some branching scenario discussions and something what I like to call the green path.
So, the big question is this. How are instructional designers like us, who can't sit back and accept the status quo, who are striving to realize our own creative potential, how do we work in a way that lets us truly create and contribute and make an impact that we can be proud of, while at the same time fall in love with the process? That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answers. My name is Anna Sabramowicz, and I want to welcome you to the Scenario Secrets podcast.
Hey everybody, Anna Sabramowicz here, and thanks for joining me again. So on Tuesday I had a really great session with a new member in our coaching program, and it's kind of cool. She's had all these ideas for interactive stories in her mind for a while, and basically what she's been looking for is a way to kind of control the scope of these ideas that are very useful. She's got some great ideas, but they kind of get away from her when she starts building them out. And so one of the things we do is we really try to definitely help you with solidifying which idea you're going to go for first. But the other thing we do is we help you make sure that when you're designing your interactive experience, it doesn't get away from you. And one of the things that happens when people first begin branching, and I know this because there was a project where I spent 2 years on endless hours on like 4 mega simulations, branching simulations, and it was just it was overwhelming. And I got a lot of good lessons from that, but it took a while to gather those lessons. So now I'm sharing those lessons with my students and you. So one of the things that happens, and you can see this even in projects that people do, like even for like a demo stuff, they'll start with branches. They'll build out all the branches as they go through each node. And then what happens is things get exponential. And I call this avalanche branching, because what happens is with every branch that you add and every node that you add, the thing just gets exponentially bigger and bigger and bigger. It's like compound effect, except it works against you. So what happens is with every branch you add, with every node you add, you end up thinking, okay, how am I going to keep this story going? And one of the things I think happens is that because you're like so fragmented, because you're trying to get every single one of those stories to progress, you end up never finishing those projects because they're so huge, or you end up resorting to, oh shit, we're running out of time and we got to get this launched. So now it's just, okay, well, let's just wrap this up as quickly as possible and just dump some content, let's use some rise blocks. So, and this is like, I think that, some people might disagree with me, but I think when you say branching scenarios, a lot of people think that they're like super sexy. Like, yeah, this is like the pinnacle. It's super awesome. And then you realize, like, once you get into that project, that if you don't have a plan, you will, you'll frustrate everybody. I remember being on that simulation project, and initially when we started, we just absolutely were just thrilled with the idea, and then it just ended up being just a tremendous chore, because we had to develop all these side branches, all these side ideas. We had to develop the continuity between all of them. Then they all had to be reviewed. Then they all had to be translated. It was a huge project. And one of the things is, I feel like, when we get to the translation stage, we should already be like, oh, we are winning. But we kind of felt like defeated. Like we had just, even though the project was, completed and we were handing it off to now get it localized, it was just, I felt like I never wanted to do another project like that again. And we had 4 of those. So that's a bad lesson. Now, here's the thing. And here's after you do avalanche branching and you realize sucks, but you want to do experiences that are immersive and make the user feel like they are in charge of a story because it helps them learn, right, through those decisions. Then you have to start thinking about how do you get strategic. And so the way you become strategic is by building out what I call the green path. You build out the path to get to the optimal ending, or the ending you want to get people to. Not all interactive experiences need to end well. Some of them, and actually several that don't end well because that's a lesson. So, it doesn't all have to have a happy ending. It just has to have a logical conclusion. So basically what you do is you work out the path to the logical conclusion first. And I don't care if it's linear, but you've got to have that down because that's your aim. And then everything else kind of builds itself around that, depending on what you need and depending what you feel is going to add value to that path. Because otherwise, you will just keep on building it out. It'll look like a giant pyramid of like eventually terrible writing. Unless you're cool with dedicating years and years to that. And I got to tell you, it sucks. Because it fizzles out. It fizzles out. So what you're trying to do then is you begin those, situations. You begin your project with the end in mind. Where do you want to take the learner? And then once you've got that path rocked out, all the decisions, that's the hardest part, because all of your being will be like, oh, but there's this cool path I want to take them on. If they say this, then you can do this. That'll be fine. Just don't worry about it. It'll come back to you if it's important. And those are like the reason why you want to go there is because that's easy. That's the easy part for us, coming up with ideas. It's following through. That's the hard part. Trust me, man. It's like you want to do everything but get to the very end and solidify that green path. But once you've got that, it's like 80% of your work is done because you know what somebody needs to do in order to get there and all the decisions that they need to take in order to get there. And once they've done that, you're so close. You are so close. It just makes all the difference. So at this point, what we did is we just said, okay, you've got, and that's what happened to this fabulous human being on the coaching call. Just tons of ideas, amazing, useful ideas that could help people, but they're sitting in like all these software tools that allow for branching, but you can't do your strategy in there, and you can't just let the software, because software is infinite, right? It'll just let you go on forever. And that's almost the detriment because there's no constraints. So that's what we do, is we help you apply that framework so there is constraints, and then just keep on bringing you back because it's easy to go off. It's easy to go off because we're full of creative ideas, but we have to have these little guardrails to make sure that the project actually gets launched. And people, what's the point of it if nobody ever gets to see it or gets to learn from those amazing lessons, right? So that's the point of that. Anyways, I hope you enjoy that. That was helpful to you if you design or are attempting to design a branching scenario. And I will see you in the next episode, friends. Bye. Well, I hope you enjoyed that episode. Now, if you want to learn more about what I do, or interactive storytelling, or scenarios, anything like that, go to scenariosecrets.com and check out the free training there. You're going to love it. Also, if you haven't already, make sure you leave a review. And if you really enjoyed this particular episode, I'd love to know that. The way for you to show me that would be if you took a screenshot of your phone and just shared it on social media and made sure you tag me. All right? Hope you have a fabulous day, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.